The mysterious statues of San Severo in Naples of Italy. The chapel of San Severo hosts some strange sculptures of unreal plasticity and incomparable beauty. The sculptures were sculpted in the 18th century and are an unsolved puzzle for researchers and experts. The statues are structurally impossible to realize because they literally exceed the plastic properties of marble or the capabilities of human tools. And indeed, the Shroud of Veiled Christ by Giuseppe San Martino and the Veil of Modesty by Antonio Corandini are neither more nor less made of transparent marble, literally. And indeed, the Shroud of Veiled Christ by Giuseppe San Martino, transparent marble, literally. Marble sculpted into a thickness of just 2 to 3 millimeters. The visitor is stunned at the idea that each of these masterpieces was originally made of marble. This seems inconceivable even to the most rational person. It's impossible for the chisel and other tools of a sculptor to pass through the many folds which form the net and create it. And yet the statues are there. They exist as living proof. They also have one thing in common. The sculptors who created them were not that famous, nor did they have any special skills which would have been reflected in their other works. But both of them collaborated for the construction of the sculptures with the great alchemist Rondo D San Severo, the so-called Prince of San Severo. As it does not appear from the surviving notarial deed concluded on November 25th, 1752, between San Di Sangro and Giuseppe San Martino, the marble shroud of the unreal plasticity covering the veiled Christ was once a normal cotton sheet, a veil literally petrified, which by some strange alchemical method was turned into a thin layer of marble mixed with carmine. That is, normal permutation. And that was all. There is another incredible creation of the infamous alchemist that causes shock. 2 iron skeletons, a man and a woman, which apart from the iron bones, have the human circulatory system entwined around them with incredible precision. And this metal, too, anyone who sees this amazing work up close is dazzled by the incredible detail with which all the human veins and arteries have been presented, even the smallest and most insignificant ones. What is beyond all doubt is that no metallurgist or artist, no matter how much art and no matter how much knowledge of anatomy they possess, cannot even today construct such an exact iron copy of the human circulatory system. But at the same time, the observer will feel a chill because he feels that the terrible rumors that exist about the projects are true. What do these rumors say? That the terrible prince, by injecting some alchemical substance into the blood, turned into iron and blood and bone of a real human body, whose remaining elements, when melted, left the iron rest what we see today. And according to the legend, the Prince of San Severo, who in his time was considered a dark sorcerer who caused terror to the popular masses, he was either looking for volunteers or he would find bodies of very recent deceased people and exercise of power over them, his art. There are strong indications that during their construction, methods were applied that we're unable to recognize and explain today. However, one would reasonably wonder if there are ways of intervening in matter that escapes or are silenced by today's established science. When the mind recovers from the initial shock, as it faces these incredible statues, it has 2 options: to repel or to interpret as like what he sees, protecting his logic system from collapsing, or to accept that the terrible Prince of San Severo could indeed turn into marble any material he wanted, as the amazing contract that has survived and even contains the alchemical receipt. The recipe he used explicitly says, in the first case, the visitor leaves safe, but with a big question mark lingering deep inside him. In the second, he feels a desire to dive into the deep waters of alchemy and the terrible knowledge that some have kept away from the public as a sealed secret thus securing authority and power for themselves alone. In the underground laboratories of his palace, Raimondo di San Severo in Largo San Domenico Maggiore devoted himself to experimenting dark and strange in the most diverse fields of sciences and arts, from chemistry and hydrostatics to typography and engineering. He achieved amazing results and was described as amazing by his counterparts. However, everyone always seemed extremely reluctant to reveal his secrets and the details of his inventions. The prince spoke several European languages as well as Arabic and Hebrew. He moved in higher social circles. He was a great admirer of Leonardo da Vinci, the inventor, scientist, and painter who was interested in the human body but also in alchemy, although it was never made clear whether he practiced this particular art. In scientific circles, Raimondo di San Severo is known as an inventor. While still a student, he impressed his teachers with the construction of the folding machine, thus saving an important theatrical performance. Like Leonardo da Vinci, he too had a passion for war machines. Raimondo di Sangro is known to have been a leading member of the Freemasonry. He was in fact the head of the Neapolitan Masonic Lodge until he was excommunicated by the Church. Curiously, however, Pope Benedict XIV very soon revoked his oblation. For some commentators, this was due to the fact that the Pope discovered that all the accusations against the prince were the product of slander and envy from his enemies and warriors. For others, it was simply the result of political maneuvering by the pontiff, while for others it was a result of a dark alliance made between those two powerful men. Di Sangro is also paradoxically associated with Count Cagliostro, another enigmatic figure, and one of the most famous Masons who, according to tradition, was his inspiration. In 1970, before a tribunal of the Roman Inquisition, Cagliostro claimed that all his knowledge of alchemy, this was the charge against him, came from a prince who had a great passion for chemistry and that he had taught him many years before in Naples. The judges did not believe him and did not give any weight to his words. However, no information about this trial is available. All the minutes from the trial were classified as secret and to this day remain locked inside the Vatican. The prince continued to experiment in the cellar of his palace, San Domenico Maggiore, but the rumors about the strange experiments could not subside. Disquieting whispers said that the prince coded his work with strange symbols. It's even believed that inside the church of San Severo there's actually an encrypted Masonic inscription, a message that many have tried to decipher but without success. And when we look at the chapel today, there are certain features that have symbolic implications, things that the tour guides explain. Some features have a double entendre, double meaning, suggesting that Di Sangro may indeed have been privy to some occult lore, but the indications are sporadic and sometimes contradictory. At the end of the walk to the chapel, the visitor is led down into a small cave. The original plans show that this room was intended for the burial of some people. However, for an unknown reason, the project was not completed. On the floor, it's a rectangular marble slab, a clear indication that Giuseppe San Martino's veiled Christ was once deposited here. However, inside the two glass cases are the strange skeletons of a man and a woman. Veins and arteries of both of these individuals remain absolutely intact. The woman's skeleton appears to have her eyes intact, almost glazed, but with a truly horrific expression. But what is remarkable are her veins and internal organs, which logically should have dissolved immediately after her death. Instead, they remain in excellent condition centuries later. Her heart is preserved whole, and you can see even the blood vessels inside her mouth. She was pregnant, and in her belly, the placenta is visible, through which the umbilical cord that connect the fetus can be seen. It's believed that some type of intravenous injection of some substance was administered, which upon entering the circulatory system gradually blocked the veins to the point where it caused the victim's death. At this point, the substance can mineralize veins and arteries, preserving them without decay. Others report that the preservation method was performed on corpses, but however, blood does not travel through a dead body, thus multiplying the mystery. If to all this we add the name of the Alchemist D Sangro, which etymologically at least is derived from Spanish sangre, meaning blood, which easily refers to the nickname of a man who knew everything about blood and its circulation, when the mystery not only grows but becomes intensely disturbing, but that's not the only problem. The syringe that should perform the subcutaneous injection was invented 100 years later by Leon surgeon Carlo Gabriel Paravas, 1791 to 1853. It's therefore not surprising that gossip and wild rumors broke out at the sight of these skeletons. Some have claimed that Rondo D San Severo was a sorcerer and diabolical alchemist who seized people in order to perform hideous experiments on them. And one last thing, there's a small abnormality in Christ covered with a veil. As above his nostril, a small indentation can be seen, as if the shroud had been infiltrated by the breath of someone trying to inhale air. Was the one who served as the model for Jesus alive at that moment, trying to breathe, or was he dead? The real Jesus has disappeared from his tomb, but he's not the only one. Anyone could still see the prince's tombstone in the chapel. He died March 22nd, 1771, from a sudden illness caused by his experiments. During a long night spent in his laboratory, he probably inhaled or swallowed some toxic substance, but this time it proved fatal. His sarcophagus, however, does not contain his body. Someone stole it, but unknown why. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.